North Korea has fired another suspected intermediate-range ballistic missile toward the sea. Military officials in South Korea are reporting that the North's first test flight of 2024 seemed to focus on the missile's engines as part of a new, harder-to-detect missile capable of striking distant U.S. targets in the region. Japan's defense ministry also said it spotted a possible ballistic missile launch by North Korea. Joining us now to unpack the increasing aggression on the part of North Korea is Wongsoon, South Korea's ambassador to Canada. Ambassador, thank you very much for joining us on Forum Daily.
Yeah, David, thank you for having me today.
What has been the political and military response in South Korea to the latest missile test from North Korea?
The Republic of Korea immediately issued a stern warning against North Korea's missile launch on Sunday, which North Korea claims to be a solid fuel intermediate range ballistic missile carrying a hypersonic warhead. North Korea is estimated to have 1,000 missiles of various types and test-fired over 200 missiles of different types since Kim Jong-un took office in 2011. It appears that North Korea has two goals concerning its missile development. First, they want to be equipped with missiles of all ranges that could reach South Korea, Japan, military bases in Guam and mainland of the United States. Second, North Korea believes that solid fuel missiles, which are easier to transport and faster to fire, as you said, will make them less vulnerable to preemptive strikes. And they want to also develop hypersonic missiles to evade interception by Korea-US missile defense system. However, whatever upgrades North Korea makes, they'll be met with strong deterrence based on solid Korea-US alliance. And South Korea will counter North Korea's direct provocation with overwhelming capabilities and take immediate, strong, and final retaliation as needed.
And so we know that the relationship between North and South Korea has always been tense, and it feels like it's always on the edge of potential conflict. But Kim Jong-un seems to have drastically stepped up his rhetorics and his actions against South Korea and the United States. Why do you think that is now?
Well, with the collapse of the negotiation in Hanoi, Vietnam in 2019, Kim Jong-un realized that he could not get what he wants from the United States unless he demonstrates his sincerity about denuclearization. And now that North Korea is stepping up its efforts to enhance its nuclear missile program, Kim Jong-un must be aware that there is no prospect for a deal with the United States. In the meantime, President Biden has taken numerous steps to increase Korea-US joint capabilities to deter North Korea's provocations. And the United States has launched the Nuclear Consultative Group with Seoul and has recently increased its deployment of the strategic assets around the Korean Peninsula. And last year, President Biden hosted the Trilateral Summit among Korea, Japan, and the United States at Camp David as President Yoon of the Republic of Korea made a breakthrough in normalizing the relationship between Seoul and Tokyo. So in the face of strong Korea-US alliance and trilateral partnership among Korea, Japan, and the United States, Kim Jong-un would not be happy about the United States.
Yeah, and you mentioned what Kim Jong-un wants. It's been reported that he is seeking the relaxing of sanctions or other concessions, but what exactly is the North Korean dictator looking for?
Kim Jong-un, like his grandfather and father, seems to have a misguided conviction that only nuclear weapons will guarantee the survival of their regime. And there were times when the international community assumed that North Korea would give up its nuclear program if North Korea's demands were met to a certain degree. But all those agreements has collapsed as North Korea breached their end of the deals. So Kim Jong-un now does not make a secret of his nuclear ambitions, and his goal is obvious. He wants to secure North Korea's position as a legitimate nuclear state and wants to have an upper hand in the future relationship with the Republic of Korea and the United States by completing its nuclear and missile program first, while enduring suffering caused by sanctions. But Kim Jong-un's ambitions will turn out to be a daydream.
Ambassador, I want to discuss the role Russia plays here. We know that South Korea has been a strong ally of Ukraine in their struggle against Russia's invasion. What has been the government of South Korea's response to the reports that North Korea is supplying Russia with missiles?
Well, first of all, the Republic of Korea respects the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ukraine and strongly condemns Russia's illegal invasion. And North Korea's supply of weapons to Russia should be halted immediately as it increases the sufferings of the people of Ukraine. And it is a flagrant violation of the UN Security Council resolutions, and therefore it is illegal. And these resolutions ban countries from trading weapons with North Korea, and they were adopted with Russia's support. And the use of North Korea's ballistic missiles by Russia in Ukraine has another security implications. North Korea will gain insight about their missile technology as they are tested on the battlefields. Moreover, we are also concerned about what North Korea would have received from Russia in return for the transfer of the missiles.
Yeah, it would be assumed that it would be possible that Russia could be aiding North Korea in all sorts of technological advancements. And that leads me to my next question about the North's continued push to launch satellites. What is the purpose of their continued push to launch these satellites?
North Korea's launch of the so-called military reconnaissance satellite, regardless of its success, is a direct violation of the UN Security Council resolution. It prohibits any kind of launch using ballistic missile technology. And immediately after the launch in November last year, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, he said, North Korea, and I quote, have taken in their hands both eyes overlooking a very long distance and a strong fist beating a very long distance, unquote. Indeed, for North Korea, the purpose of developing the satellites is to strengthen its surveillance and reconnaissance capabilities and thereby improve its nuclear strike and retaliation capacities. And I'd like to reiterate that whatever technological upgrades North Korea makes to its weapons, they will be met with Korea-US enhanced deterrence capabilities and countermeasures by Korea-US alliance. And Kim Jong-un must know that the consequence he's going to face when he crosses the line. And at the same time, Kim Jong-un appears to have domestic needs as he uses the satellite launch to display the regime's achievement to his people.
Yeah, and in that kind of increasing tension of conflict, in 2020, we know that the North cut off communication lines with the South. Is there any movement or openness on the part of the South Korean government to reopen dialogue between the two countries?
Well, following the failure of the U.S.-North Korea summit in Hanoi in 2019, North Korea formed the Inter-Korea Joint Liaison Office in June 2020, and the communication line was later recovered. But since April 2023, North Korea has not been responding to our calls. And current government in Seoul takes a very comprehensive approach on North Korea's nuclear problem. We are trying to deter its threat and trying to dissuade its nuclear development. And also we are pursuing its denuclearization through dialogue and diplomacy. So the path to dialogue remains open, but North Korea continues to be preoccupied with the development of its illegal nuclear and missile program without giving any regard to the offer of dialogue. So it is critical that the international community, including Canada and Korea, send out a strong message that North Korea's nuclear weapon program will never be accepted, and we need to create a strategic environment where North Korea will have no other choice but to come back to the negotiating table.
Ambassador, I really appreciate your time today. Thank you very much for joining us on Forum Daily.